Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, and today I want to talk about a really interesting article that I read talking about how games from the 90s were much better for your brain than modern games are. Two main contributors to this include Veronica Lichtenstein and Melissa Gallagher, two health professionals in the mental health industry. I really like what they ended up finding. I think a lot of these things will come pretty second nature to people that enjoy retro video games, but I wanted to talk about some of the things and some of the benefits that they talk about for games back in that era, specifically from that time as well, like being in that time itself versus modern games today. If you enjoy this video and you're liking the content that I've been putting out, please like and subscribe. I've recently crossed 1,000 subscribers. I want to just let that keep climbing. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get on to the rest of the video here. So the main thing here is that games from the 90s really pushed your fortitude, pushed your perseverance, how you approached video games. Back then, you didn't have as instant access to things like the internet. You had to either find answers to your problems by figuring them out, banging your head against the wall until it finally clicks and you figure something out, talking with your friends, or getting like a guidebook. There were a lot of barriers to finding the answers that you needed, and so it really helped your brain process a lot of these things, and figuring those things out is really good for your brain. Whereas with modern games, a lot of times there's no emphasis on good game design, or less emphasis on good game design, and more emphasis on creating discomfort for the player. Not so much that they want to quit your game, but enough that they want to alleviate that suffering in some way. You look at any freemium game, that's what they do. That's the way that they prey on the modern player, the modern gaming player, as it were. They want to create enough discomfort that you're just annoyed enough. I'll spend a couple bucks and get over this hurdle. I'll advance through this thing. I'll get whatever it needs to do. The same thing applies to like cosmetics. You have a lot of pressures from friends and other people with oh, they've got the newest skin on Fortnite. I better save up my money and buy some V-Bucks and get that skin as well. Those kind of things were there to just put pressure on the player, but not in a way, again, that drives you away from the game, but that keeps you coming back for a little bit more, giving you just enough of that dopamine rush to get you back, but not enough to have a sustaining influence. Whereas games from the 90s, when you overcome something like a major challenge, you figure out a big puzzle, you beat a boss that you took forever to beat, it creates a long sense of satisfaction. It's like completing a really long project in school that they liken it to. It's a really interesting idea. And this article specifically states games from the 90s, but this absolutely applies to games from the 80s too. I would assume it applies even more in some instances, because those games are freaking hard. Beating an old NES game gives you such a huge rush, and it's so sustained because it took so much effort, because it took so much work. But one of the things too is that modern games now, we have the access to guides, we have access to videos. You can go at the drop of a hat and you can go, oh, I'm missing some memory lockets on Silksong. Where do I find those? And you can go find the answer. Now, I'm a purveyor of exploring and figuring things out on your own and not resorting to the internet as much as possible, especially in a game like Hollow Knight, where exploration is most of the fun. Exploring and finding new things is what makes the game so fantastic in the first place. But now it's so easy to just find the answers to your problems. Even if you're playing retro games, now there's guides for everything out there. And it's a little bit demoralizing because back in the day, you had to rely on your friends. You had to rely on people that had the answers. You had to find them yourself. And now it's just so easy to do that. And that's a little bit of a bummer because we will never have that point where we don't have the internet readily available anymore. So figuring things out, especially if you're playing retro games, I would highly encourage you to go back and try it without looking at guides. I do think, with time constraints and everything, you might just want to be able to finish it. And I don't have a problem with guides for the most part, but it is better for your brain, according to this study here, to just figure it out on your own. And I do like that ability to do your perseverance growing because of that. I think it's a really important aspect of gaming that we should apply to more games, especially retro titles. If you're going back and trying it, try it out without a guide first. I think you'll have a much more enjoyable time overall. So games from the 90s, games from the 80s, they just really tested your grit, whereas games today really just don't. They don't do the exact same thing that games from the retro era really do the best, and that's just creating good game design too. Game companies today, you don't need me to tell you, modern games, they really focus on squeezing every last dollar out of you. The monetization of everything is really the end of gaming, in my opinion. Back in the day, they just really wanted to sell you the best game that they possibly could because they didn't have stuff like arcades, like if you got home console gaming. They really want to focus on giving you the best bang for your buck. or in some instances that you couldn't borrow it from Blockbuster in time to finish it. You couldn't beat it in a couple of weeks, which I think is absolutely hysterical. Why some of like the old Disney games are really freaking hard. But the core tenets of game design back in the day were fun. How do we make this fun? How do we make this difficult so the players get the most bang for their buck? Now it's how do we withhold everything that we can so the players have to keep paying us over and over and over again? And I just think that sucks. So I love retro games for that reason, but I do love that a lot of modern game companies are doing such a good job. Team Cherry is a huge example of that. You've got plenty of indie game developers that are really rocking those design choices that really harken back to the retro titles of old. Also Nintendo, they don't do a lot with microtransactions. You can say their DLCs are overpriced, and I absolutely agree. But for the most part, they are not preying on you as a consumer. They're mostly wanting to give you good quality game experiences. Now, I will redact my statement just a little bit here because obviously $80 games are way too expensive. Nintendo, we hate you for making Mario Kart World $80. But outside of that, I do appreciate any company that's going to prioritize game design over squeezing every last dollar out of the consumer, because we're already paying a premium for games. $70, $80 sometimes is too much as it is. So it's nice to get a really high quality experience, especially when you get it for a discounted price. Expedition 33 at $50, Hades 2 at $30, Silksong at $20, the best value in gaming out there. It just really, it warms your soul that at least some modern companies are doing it like the retro developers of old. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this. Let me know if you're enjoying the channel. Let me know what you want to see me cover next. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.